Hi Gnomies, and welcome back to my channel. This is Nova Gnome Creations, and today we are going to be working on part 2 of our Mushroom Gnome Crochet Along. So today we are going to be working on the body, and you are only going to be needing your white yarn. As far as yarn is concerned, I am using a worsted weight yarn and a 3.5mm hook. You are welcome to use the same yarn and same hook size, or you can use whatever size yarn you'd like. I just recommend going down 1 or 2 sizes from the ball band recommendation for your hook since we're doing amigurumi. You're also going to need a stitch marker, some scissors, and a yarn needle, and a little bit of polyfill. To begin, we're going to start with making 2 little arms because we are actually going to work them into the body. So you're going to start by making a magic circle, and if you need a slowed down process with a little more help on your magic circle, I have a tutorial linked in the description box. So once you have your magic circle, we are going to place 5 single crochets into your magic circle. So 2, 3, 4, and 5. And once you have your 5 single crochets in there, you're going to grab the tail of your magic circle and give it a pull. Don't pull it all the way shut just yet because you want to make sure you can get your hook into that first stitch to place a single crochet. If you pull it super tight, you may struggle to get your hook into that first single crochet, so I just wait a second to give it an extra hard pull. All right, and place your stitch marker back into there, and then go ahead and place a second single crochet in that same stitch. And now you can go ahead and give a nice solid tug on your tail. So this round is an increase round, which means in every stitch, you're going to place 2 single crochets. And because we started out this round with 5 single crochets, we will have 10 at the end of this round. So when you get to the end of your increase round, you will have 10 stitches. And I just want to take a minute to remind you that if you need this slowed down or replayed, you're always welcome to rewind and rewatch parts, or if you click the little gear icon that's somewhere around your video screen, you can actually adjust the playback speed and slow it down or speed it up or whatever it is that you need. So feel free to do that so that this works best for you. So now that you made it back to your stitch marker, you can go ahead and pop that out and place a single crochet in that stitch. And this row is going to just be single crocheting. So we had 10 stitches right now, and we are going to just single crochet in each of the 10 stitches, and we will continue to have 10 stitches. And your work is going to begin to cup up, so make sure that you're keeping that tail on the inside of your work because those are the inside of your stitches. So go ahead and single crochet in each stitch around, and you are going to do that for this round, and you are actually also going to do that for the next round. So 2 rounds of single crochets where you have 10 stitches in each round. And as you come to a finish of your second row of 10 single crochets, you can go ahead and move your stitch marker out for a second and place another single crochet. So this round is going to be 3 single crochets and then a decrease, and we're going to repeat that twice. So put your stitch marker back in that first stitch and then make 2 more single crochets. And this is going to be our hand, which I am not going to put stuffing in mine, but if you would like to, you can. Once you get further in, just add it whenever, you feel comfortable doing so. So we're going to be making a decrease here, and I like to do it under just this front loop only, instead of under the whole stitch. And the way I do it is I go under the front loop, and then I go straight under the front loop of the next stitch. Then I yarn over and I pull through both of those, and then I yarn over and I pull through both again. So that is called an invisible decrease, and you're going to do 3 more single crochets and then you will place another invisible decrease. So I'm going to be using my magic circle tail that's just kind of hanging out still. And that is going to be my stuffing. I'm just going to stick it down in the hand. And that's just going to kind of lightly stuff the hand. All right, and then after those 3 single crochet, you just do another invisible decrease and you are all good to go for that round. And we are almost done with the arm, actually. We just have to do some single crochets. So I'm going to do single crocheting all the way around for 9 rounds. You're welcome to do more or less if you'd like your arms to be longer or shorter. And I'm just going ahead and stuffing that little yarn tail from the magic circle down in there. And it's acting as its own stuffing, so I don't even need to break out the polyfill for the arms. But if you would like to, you are more than welcome to. And the reason I'm only stuffing the hands is because we're going to be having the arms kind of hanging out of our gnome, and if we stuffed his arms, they would probably stick straight out. And our final step for our arms is going to be to seam the top shut. So make sure you've got your yarn tail stuck down in there from your magic circle. So now we're just going to be single crocheting across the top by kind of sandwiching the 2 layers together. So I sandwiched together my layers, and then I did through both layers, the top of each stitch, a single crochet. And I'm literally just pushing my hook through the top of both of them and then just doing a single crochet. So I have 3 single crochets at the top of my little arm. And then to finish it off, I just did a chain. That way it will create a little knot after we cut it. And you don't really need to leave any yarn, just enough to literally put it inside the body. Because we're going to be attaching this with a sewing free method of putting the arms on. So you won't actually need your yarn, your extra tail. So I'm going ahead and threading my yarn needle, and then I'm just going like right under where this yarn is and pushing it through the length of the arm. So I'll just have it pop out the bottom. And then you don't see the yarn tail anymore, and it's all nice and secured inside of the arm. And then you can go ahead and cut your yarn tail. And I just cut it nice and flush up to the hand there, and then massage around a little bit so that the little bitty tail disappears into the inside of the arm. And you're going to want to go ahead and make a second one of these. So if you need to, go ahead and rewind and watch that again, and meet me back when you have your second one. All right, so now that you have both of your arms, we are going to start on the body. And we're going to start with a magic circle again. So once again, if you need a little extra help, feel free to click that tutorial in the description box where I break it down for you and walk you through the steps. After you have your magic circle, we are going to be placing 6 single crochets into the magic circle. So 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Once you've got your 6 single crochets, you can gently pull on that magic circle tail, not closing it up all the way just yet, but just enough so that you can go over to the other side and place a single crochet into that first stitch. And once you've got that first single crochet, go ahead and grab your stitch marker and pop it in. And this is going to be an increase round, so we are going to be doing 2 single crochets into each stitch. You can go ahead and pull on your magic circle tail at any point going forward in the project. You may have to wait a little while and pull on it again. That's normal, that's totally fine. But you don't need to worry about not tightening it all the way now. So placing 2 single crochets into each stitch, we currently have 6 single crochets after finishing round 1, and by the end of round 2 we will have 12 because we are doubling our stitches because we're increasing in each stitch. So go ahead and place a single crochet in each stitch around until you get back to your stitch marker. And once you get back to your stitch marker, you can go ahead and pop it out, and we are going to place another single crochet as the first stitch of round 3. So there we go. And then go ahead and replace your stitch marker. And for round 3, we are going to increase again, but a little more subtly. So we're going to do an increase after that single crochet we just made, and then we're going to do another single crochet, and then we're going to do another increase, and then another single crochet, and then another increase. So the repeat for this round is single crochet, increase, single crochet, increase, single crochet, increase. Or if you want to think of it this way, one stitch in one stitch, and then 2 stitches in 1 stitch. And you're just going to repeat that until you get back to your stitch marker. And at the end of this round, you are going to have 18 single crochets if you're keeping count. And if you're not keeping count, a little hint to know if you're on track is that you should end on an increase. And once you've got that increase in there, we are going to move right along. So you can go ahead and pop that stitch marker out, and you can go ahead and place a single crochet into that stitch. And then you guessed it, replace your stitch marker. And I just think that stitch markers are so handy, so that you have an extra little safety net for counting, or if you don't want to count. And now we're just going to be going up a little more and doing 2 single crochets and then an increase. So we're just subtly increasing and getting a little bit bigger. So 2 single crochets and then an increase. 2 single crochets and then an increase. And that is the repeat for the round. So place 1 single crochet in 1 stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and then 2 single crochets in the following stitch. And at the end of this round, you're going to have 24 stitches. And once again, you'll end on an increase. You'll always end on an increase with the way that I do my patterns. If we're increasing in that round, I like to be consistent with the way that I do them and do single crochets first. Unless it's something really wonky, we're always going to have those increases last. All right, so after you have done your 2 single crochet and increase round, we are going to do the next round in 3 single crochets and then an increase. So go ahead and put a single crochet in your first stitch and replace your stitch marker. And then you're going to do a single crochet in the next stitch, and then a single crochet in the 3rd stitch, and then 2 single crochets in the 4th stitch. So single crochet 3, increase, single crochet 3, increase. And once you've done that, we are going to move on to the next round, which is single crochet 4, increase. So pop a single crochet into that first stitch and replace your stitch marker. And then go ahead and single crochet into the next stitch, single crochet into the 3rd stitch, single crochet into the 4th stitch, and then place 2 single crochets into the next stitch because it's an increase. And you're going to repeat that all the way around. 4 single crochets and then an increase till you get to your stitch marker. For this next round, you're going to go ahead and pop the stitch marker out and place your single crochet and then replace your stitch marker. And we are going to be doing 5 single crochets and then an increase. And that's going to be our repeat for the round. So here is our 2nd single crochet, our 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And then we will place 2 single crochets in this same stitch for an increase. And when you finish that round, you'll have 42 stitches. And I am just finishing up here with my increase in my last stitch. And then we are going to be moving on to our next round. So go ahead and pop out your stitch marker and throw a single crochet into that first stitch. And then replace your stitch marker, and we are going to be doing 6 single crochets and then an increase. And that is going to be the repeat for the round. So 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then 2 single crochets in that same stitch. And you're going to repeat this all the way around back to your stitch marker. So for a total of 6 repeats of that pattern. and you will have 48 stitches at the end of that round. Now for your next round, we are going to be doing 7 single crochets and then an increase. And this is our last increase round for now. So go ahead and put that stitch marker back in there. And go ahead and single crochet 7 single crochets. And then once you've crocheted your 7 single crochets, you can go ahead and pop an increase into that 8th stitch. And that is going to be your repeat for the round. You're going to go around with that pattern 6 more times, and that will get you back to your stitch marker. And you will have 54 stitches at the end of this round. So now we are going to be doing some back loop only single crochets. This is your back loop, which is the loop furthest from you, and that's going to be your first stitch, so you could put your stitch marker back in there. And once you get that stitch marker back in there, we are just going to continue in the back loop onlys all the way around. And remember, your back loop is the furthest from you loop, and it's going to be on the side where your magic circle tail is, if that helps you. So just back loop only single crochet all the way around till you get back to your stitch marker. No increasing or decreasing or anything like that. And it will look like this. And once you have finished your back loop only single crochets, we are just going to do some more single crochets, but we're going to do them in the whole stitch this time. So just some normal single crochets, and you are going to do those for 2 rounds. So we also, just so you know, still have 54 stitches because last round and these next 2 rounds we aren't increasing or decreasing. So if you're keeping count, you will still have 54 stitches. So just work your way around to your stitch marker and then work your way back around to your stitch marker one more time, and then I will meet you back for the next step. Alright, and now that you have finished your 2 single crochet rounds, we are going to start decreasing. We're going to try to create that kind of classic mushroom shape that's kind of almost hourglass kind of shaped. So we are going to do some decreasing now, which is literally just the opposite of all of the increasing that we just did. So for this round, we are going to do 7 single crochets and then a decrease. And I do invisible decreases when I do amigurumi, so I'm going to show you how to do an invisible decrease. You are more than welcome to do whatever decrease feels most comfortable to you. If you prefer to do just a regular decrease, that's totally fine. But for an invisible decrease, you grab this front loop, and then the front loop of the next stitch, then yarn over and pull through both, and yarn over and pull through both. And that is just going to create a decrease that doesn't make a visible knot kind of in the body of your amigurumi. And now that you have made it back to your stitch marker, we are going to have 48 stitches in total, and we are going to do 6 single crochets and then a decrease for this next round. So same as before, do 6 single crochets and then do that invisible decrease or whatever decrease you are most comfortable with. You're going to do that repeat 6 times, and that'll bring you back to your stitch marker. And after you do that round, you will have 42 stitches in the round. And continuing on with our theme of decreasing, we are going to go ahead and pop out that stitch marker, place a single crochet, and then replace the stitch marker, and we are going to be doing 5 single crochets and then a decrease. And that is going to be the repeat for this round. So do your 5 single crochets and then do your invisible decrease or whatever decrease you're most comfortable with, and you will have 36 stitches at the end of the round. All right, we have made it to our last decrease round. So we are going to be doing 4 single crochets and then a decrease. So go ahead and pop in 4 single crochets. Don't forget to replace your stitch marker if you're using one. And then do your decrease over those next 2 stitches, and you will have 30 stitches at the end of this round. And once you have made your way back to your stitch marker and you have your 30 stitches, we are going to be doing some single crochet rounds. So we are going to do 4 rounds of single crochets, which will keep us at our 30 stitch count because we aren't increasing or decreasing. And that just means going around back to our stitch marker, and then around back to our stitch marker, around back to our stitch marker, and one more time around back to our stitch marker. So you're going to do 4 rounds of single crochets and then meet me back and I will let you know what to do next. And with that, we have got our little mushroom booty looking good. We've cinched in, and now we're going to start to kind of bubble back out a little bit with an increase round. So we are going to do 5 single crochets and then an increase. And that is going to be the repeat for the round. And at the end of this round, you will have 36 stitches. So go ahead and place 5 single crochets. And then in that 6th single crochet, go ahead and place 2 single crochets, otherwise known as an increase, and just repeat that all the way around back to your stitch marker. Now we are going to be doing some more single crochet rounds. So you are going to be doing 4 more single crochet rounds. So all the way around back to your stitch marker 4 times in total, and you will continue to have 36 stitches. Also, Mr. Lincoln is here, my cat, so if you hear some purring, I'm not sure if it picks up on it, but he is here also, supervising per usual. So go ahead and do your 4 rounds of single crochets and then meet me back and I will let you know what you do next. All right, now if you would like to add arms, go ahead and grab the arms that you made earlier. We are going to work them right into the work so you do not have to sew them on. So we are going to be doing 15 single crochets and then we will attach our first arm. So go ahead and get that stitch marker back into that first stitch and then crochet 14 more single crochets. And the arms are optional. If you would like it to kind of have more of a traditional mushroom shape to your gnome, you could totally omit the arms and just do a straight up single crochet round this round. So that is an option that I am leaving to you. I think it would look really good that way. I like gnomes with no arms a lot, so I honestly will probably make another one with no arms, but for the purposes of the tutorial, I want to show you guys how to do the arms, so I'm going to include them. And I think the arms are what's really going to make it have more of a silhouette kind of a shape and almost look like a girl gnome. But you don't have to do a girl gnome, of course. But if you wanted to, I think that the arms with sort of the hourglass shape of like the mushroom stalk, I think it's going to be lending itself really well to the girl gnome kind of look. And then I think if you don't do the arms, it'll look more just like a mushroom shape. But once you have your 15 single crochets, go ahead and grab your arm. And remember, we have 3 single crochets along the top of our arm where we seamed it together. And that is what we are going to use to attach to the body. So we are going to basically line up our single crochets on the arm and on our work. And then we're going to go through the first single crochet on our arm with our hook and then go through the work with our hook also. And basically we are just sandwiching together these stitches and then doing a normal single crochet. So just like a regular single crochet, but we're going through 2 layers of single crochets with our hook first. And that works it right in, so you don't have to sew it. You don't have to worry about it, not being sewn in well or falling out or like looking wonky or not being even. It's sometimes hard to get your parts even when you're sewing them on either side. So sewing it in or working it into the project is actually really handy for a lot of reasons. So after you get that arm in there, you're just going to single crochet 15 again, which will leave you with 3 single crochets right there before your stitch marker. And you're just going to do the same thing. You're just going to sandwich them together and attach your arm right into the work. And just to give you guys an idea of what it is looking like so far, I'm just going to pull up on my hook to make that loop bigger so I don't lose it and show you what it looks like. So here is kind of the shape of our mushroom gnome body, and here is what it looks like with the cap on. so you can get an idea if you want to do arms or not. Here's what it looks like with arms. Imagine it with like a little gnome face. And then here is what it would look like without arms. I'm just going to kind of tuck them inside and give you a visual. So see what I mean? That it's like that classic mushroom shape. And then, you know, you'd still put your nose and your beard or your pigtails or whatever, depending on if you wanted to do a girl or a boy. But you could totally do just like a mushroom basically as the body. So up to you if you want to add arms or not, but I wanted to make sure that I showed you guys kind of what it looks like both ways, and you can decide for yourself. So for this next part, we are just going to do a round of single crochets, and it's super easy to crochet over where the arms are now because you literally just have normal crochets at the top of them. So literally just a straight up single crochet round, and you will have 36 stitches still because we are not increasing or decreasing when you get back to your stitch marker. So go ahead and single crochet 36 single crochets. And when you get back to your stitch marker, we have one more round left. You are almost done. So we are going to do some back loop only single crochets to end our body. So go ahead and put a back loop only single crochet into that top or that first stitch, and then replace your stitch marker. And then we are going to continue doing back loop only single crochets all the way around. So you will have 36 of those when you get back to your stitch marker. All right, are you ready to finish this project? Well, this part of the project. Here is what we are looking like. You'll have a little seam, a little line, kind of a ridge for where your back loop onlys are. And we are just going to go ahead and pop one more back loop only into this next stitch. And then we are going to chain one to make a little knot, and then leave yourself a nice long tail and go ahead and cut your yarn. And after you've cut your yarn, you can pull up on your hook to pull that yarn through, which is going to solidify that little knot that we just made with that chain. And you have finished your mushroom body. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope that it was easy to follow, and I hope that you are loving your mushroom gnome so far. Make sure that you leave a comment and let me know how the tutorial is, if you like it, if you're excited. And don't forget to check out my description box if you are interested in seeing some of my other content. I have more tutorials. I have lots of just randomness, crochet related, yarn related. I have like 250 videos, so lots to see if you would like to hang out and be a Gnomie. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that thumbs up button, and I will see you on the next part. And until then, stay Gnomie!